Hello, yet again, another list from Damon, another day, and this time it's not gonna be wrestling related, it's gonna be TV related. Because I think that sometimes I would talk a lot about movies and wrestling, and two subjects I want to talk more about are video games and TV, and I haven't done that. So I want to go and recoup this and basically redeem my something with TV shows. And I thought I talked about already movie. My very first video on YouTube was about the top movie bad guys, in my opinion. Let's talk about TV because TV offers a great lot of TV bad guys. And I'll be honest, there's some shows that are not going to be on that list because I haven't watched them, or at least not watched them feverishly. And there's some characters that you might classify as bad guys, but are really just rivals. Like, for example, Ava and Abbott Elementary is more of a rival to Janine rather than a flat out villain. uh, Reggie in Riverdale, or in Archie comics, more rival than a flat out bad guy to Archie, and vice versa. So, without further ado, let me talk to you about my top 20 TV bad guys. So, number 20, I would have put in Lex Luthor from Smallville. Michael Rosenbaum, to me, might just be the best Lex Luthor there is, besides Gene Hackman. Number three would be Nicholas Hoult. And Nicholas Hoult is very good. And to be honest with you, I thought it was the best part of Superman 2025. But Michael Rosenbaum knew how to imbue Lex Luthor with humanity, with some reasonable motives, but also being an egomaniacal asshole. So he knew how to do all of these and make it a very compelling character out of Lex Luthor, who's already very compelling. Number 19, another comic book villain, the animated version of the Joker, played by Mark Hamill in the new Batman Adventures. Yes, it's more like comics, but to me, it's more the fact that Mark Hamill could have taken just a voice like this and just flat out say, "Hey, I'm Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. I want a job. Pay me." He could have just said that. No, he wanted to revamp his own entire career to the point that it's like nowadays, this is the role he's mentioned in the same vein as Luke Skywalker. Not, oh, he also did this. No, it's the same vein. And he breathed new life in his acting career as well. He became a voice actor out of this when he could have just stayed with usual, could have just done roles that are derivative of Luke Skywalker. No, he didn't want to do. He wanted to challenge himself as a voice actor, and it succeeded. The point that people might consider him as the best Joker. I think he's in the top three Jokers of all time, but he's not number one because to me it's live action Joker. But it's like still, you know how to imbue the Joker with chaos, with some unappropriate laughter, and to make him very evil, but sometimes hilarious. So he knew how to do that. So that's number 19. Number 18, Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones. Yes, there's another villain on that show that would put higher than this, but that speaks of that show. Despite, let's take away the disappointing last season, because that's what it was to me. It wasn't bad. It was just very, very disappointing. And the only thing that's very bad about that show is it introduced 10,000 characters, and you have resolution out of them for like maybe 20 at best. And all those 20s, maybe three of them had a satisfying resolution. Like Tyrion, I think, had the best ending there. It's like he's basically the end of the new king, and that's what I felt he should have been. But everybody else did not have a great resolution. Jaime did not have one. He went back to what he used to be, to go back with Cersei, and both of them died in a unsatisfying manner. So Ramsay Bolton, though, to me, unlike another villain that show, taking base use his illegitimate background to basically justify being a piece of crap. And he was. He made another character like Tion was a piece of crap seem tame compared to him. And yeah, a I mean, his greatest moment was a battle with Jon Snow, and basically after he lost and ensuing punishment as he didn't like to feed his dog, and it happened to be he played to his own demise. So I really like how he was done in, but I also like how he was evil and you hate him. I'm thinking That's what the actor's paid to do, to make you hate his character, the point where you want his character to get theirs. And it's what happened. So I love that about Ramsey. And yeah, that's for number 18. Number 17, strangely enough, it's a comedy, it's a sitcom, is Janine from Friends. Why Janine? She always plays Chandler Bing as a puppet. She came in out of his life, she came out of your life, just like an ex-girlfriend comes in, comes out. And like she never respected the guy. Ever. Yeah, Chandler is very, very odd, can be kind of weird, can be hilarious, but he didn't deserve that kind of treatment. You could even say of the male friends, a friend of the show Friends actually is the best one of the kind. Yeah, he's sarcastic, sometimes he can be scared of intimacy or commitment, but due to basically how he grew up, basically being basically well, his parents were divorced really early on in his development, and both of them like having divergent paths, but basically unifying himself in terms of what they want out of Chandler. You can see why he has protective barriers. And Janine, because at first it was his first girlfriend, basically you wanted like you idolize sometimes your first real relationship. Oh, he has to be, she always comes back in your life, and then you realize the reason why you hold that relationship up on a pedestal isn't because the person themselves, it's because it's your first one. You want that one to be such a romantic story, but in reality, you're in love with that story and not really in that relationship. He wasn't in love with Janine after a while. She got in his nerves. Even faked a trip going to Yemen to get out of that relationship. And took being with Monica to realize how much he's happier with a relationship that's not as fancy, that's not as high stakes as the one with Janine. That maybe just maybe Janine represented what he used to love, not what he loves now. So yeah, I really, really, I really dislike Janine. I know she was supposed to be a parody of Fran Drescher and the Nanny, but still, Fran Drescher and the Nanny was his character was a benevolent character, was maybe annoying when laughing, but apart from that, she always wanted something best for everybody. Whereas in this show, Janine just wanted what's best for her. She had no problem cheating on an husband for Chandler. She had no problem basically cheating on Chandler with somebody else. She had no loyalty except to herself. And yeah, she only cared about herself and looked out for her point of view. So yeah, that's why I put it at number 17. Number 16, Newman. Why Newman from the Seinfeld? Because again, looking out just for himself, it's like he was desperate to be like the point where I saw somebody like Jerry Seinfeld was really obsessed with desecrating whatever Jerry Seinfeld did, or and anytime that basically we have some quiet, Jerry Newman was like the noisy neighbor, want to know everything about everybody else while keeping his own secrets at bay. One always wanted to one up everybody else, and to the detriment of the four characters. The only reason why it's not as bad is because the four characters, main characters, Elaine, Cosmo, George, and Jerry, all happen to be assholes. But it says somehow Newman that he, somehow, some way, sometimes I'm managed to outdo himself, outdo them, and be an actual bigger asshole than all of them. So yeah, that's number 16. Number 15, I put him I have to be sure. I'm sorry for the mispronunciation. Jung Daik-soo from Squid Game, the gangster in the first season, who had no problem basically eliminating other contestants before the next game or sacrificing other players, especially in the Glass Bridges game, in order for him to survive. And it took basically a spurned lover. It took a spurned lover to get rid of him. It's like he mistreated everybody, whether it was as gangster or within a constant game. And yeah, he wasn't dead, but then just justify being a complete piece of crap to people. And he had no problem uh basically threatening people who are physically weaker than him. He had no problem using gangs to do so. So it was very, very cathartic. It was a very catharsis cathartic experience to see him get his by on Hun and before the last game, which the glass bridges. So yeah, now that's number. There was number 15, number 14, similar to Squid Game, the salesman. The salesman was very hateable, because it's like he felt like he had no scruples about him. He was unscrupulous. He liked getting people to do away with their own lives and do away with their own reputation, their own dignity to join the game for some more money, some more coins. It didn't seem like he did it because he had to. He did it because he wanted to. He loved seeing people suffer. He loved seeing people feel as desperate and feel like, just like the Joker, feel like they're just no better than them. They would do the same choice no matter what. And Gion will keep proving him wrong after the first season. So yeah, despite this character met his own demise, it's like it's still to me one of the biggest or yeah, biggest bad guys in TV history. So yeah. So that's number 14. Number 13, sorry. Magneto for X-Men 97. I always thought, even in movies, Magneto is one of the most compelling characters because it's like out of really reasonable motives, and he's not flat out evil. Despite him at his most evil, he would still try to protect and defend Charles Xavier because it's his friend. He doesn't want to harm his friend. It's his best friend. He still pays tribute to him. Even X-Men 3, The Last Stand, when Pyro insulted Professor Xavier after his death, Magneto pulled Pyro aside and pretty much threatened him not to ever disrespect his friend again. It says that it's a complicated friendship, but it's still a friendship. And he still wants to help what he thinks help the X-Men, but he shows himself to be intolerant toward humankind. And you could see why he harbors a lot of ill feelings toward mankind due to how they treat his mom, how he was raised. You could see that. It doesn't justify his actions, but it's a great psychology, basically a great, you know, psychological background for this character. So that's number 13. Number 12, Shredder from TMNT 89 and particularly TMNT 2012. That's one of the rare cases where I felt like an animated show from the basically more recent in TMNT 2012 beats TMNT 87 because 87 was fun, but it was very cartoony. Though I still love the voice of Shredder, R.I.P. James Avery, aka Uncle Phil. But I also love the Kevin Michael Richardson. We did the voice of Shredder in the TMNT 2012 version. But I felt in 2012, TMNT 2012, they actually fleshed out the turtles. They all had the identity and they respected it. There weren't as many like basically glaring errors like the TMNT 87. It's like they had a story, they completed it, and they didn't go overboard where they were supposed to. They didn't have extra season like many shows like Supernatural. Once they finished story, they end the show. It was like 4 or 5 seasons, they end the show because the story was finished. And I immensely respect that. That might be a reason why if I ever do one of my best TV show video, it might be on my list because of that. When you finish your TV show and you don't take extra season, the moment it's finished, it's done. You don't need extra seasons. It's over. You don't need to have 2 digits number of seasons to make great shows. Sometimes like 2, 3 seasons, and that's it. I love that Shredder could be cartoony, but at the same time, that the 2012 he's playing a father of Karai, and you actually see Super Shredder being done right. Intimidating, but he didn't lose everything. He still tries to defend Karai because it's his daughter, but he wants her. He's still overbearing and demanding toward her. He wants her to follow the foot soldiers way, the Foot Clan's way. So yeah, I really really enjoy Shredder in animated form. Also, I love them in TMNT 99E. So that's it. So number 12, number 11. It's all family is the McFall family from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Similarly to Newman from Seinfeld, it takes something to be a bigger asshole than the main protagonist. And they happen to be. They're weird, let's just say some of their let's just say that some of their amorous relationships are very questionable, and they have an affinity for some reason to milk, but still they're hateable, and that was the point. They basically every time you the main characters, the five main characters, they're basically despicable human beings. But the moment the McFall enter the bar, you realize that they're basically the Patty gang happen to be the de facto good guys in that situation. They're de facto good guys only with there. I mean, that's number 11. And I was surprised to know that Guillermo del Toro, awesome director, basically does cameos as one of the McFall family members. So that always makes me laugh. But that's number 11. Now good top 10. Number 10, Ashley Schaefer, played by Will Ferrell in Eastbound and Down. That was hilarious, and that's close to being a Ric Flair interpretation that you can ever see. I'm finding funny that nobody's that Will Ferrell doesn't say he was inspired by Ric Flair, but it's obviously Ric Flair. I mean, the haircut, the except he doesn't do the whoo, he does whoo whoo whoo. It's like yeah, it's pretty much Ric Flair as I use Carl Selman, and honestly, he's probably much more talented and stable than Ric Flair to sell cars. So yeah, and the whole I feel it deep in my plums monologue always makes me laugh. It's like that's what the Will Ferrell I miss. Not the miss of this. I think it was he did a movie with Kristen Wiig this year. I think about two married couples that try to who are feuding with each other. I didn't like this because I think Will Ferrell can do so much better. I want that Will Ferrell back that we saw in He's Bound and Down, other guys, Anchorman. I want that Will Ferrell to come back. And as Ashley Schaefer to me is just hilarious in this case. And yeah, it's all the many years there, but he's still evil. He still prides about himself about money. He sees people as as play toys. He sees Kenny Powers in his downtrodden state as a play toy for him. So yeah, I thought it was very fun there. So that's number 10. Number 9, Phil Leotardo from Sopranos. That's to me the main bad guy of the show. You could say, well, Tony Soprano is a bad guy. Yeah, but he has his good points. I mean, despite all the disagreement, he will go to bat to help his therapist, Dr. Melfi, if she ever needed his help. And at one point in the show, she even ponders calling him for help after she's been a victim of a heinous crime. She decides not to, but she knew if she mentioned it to Tony, Tony would have no hesitation to protect her. Tony might have been a bad guy to some extent, but he still have his moral limits. Phil Leotardo had none. So he was cunning, he was cold, he has no scruples, and was so satisfying seeing him meet his end in the last episode in a gruesome manner. So yeah, that's number 9. Number 8, the frontman for Squid Game. Again, I don't like how season 3 ended with Squid Game. It could have easily been a one season show that I think would have been better, but I think it was well developed by the actor that played him. I mean, especially in the last season, it was more developed, and it felt like while he was cold, calculated, cunning as a leader, and uncaring up till season 3, he didn't care. He just wanted to prove in his point that every human basically was disposable. It took Jihan to prove him that no, they weren't, and that's what caused him to to start having like a basically to grow again his conscience in the last episode. I still don't like how it ended, but I felt like at least it was a good twist there. But yeah, the frontman would be my number 8 bad guy, best TV bad guys of all time. Number 7, here's a person who doesn't have a conscience. It's Homelander from The Boys. He's basically Superman if he was evil. He has no conscience, wants to do whatever he wants to. He's basically a man-child in a superhero body. And it works. It makes him the most dangerous person there is there. And I just hope in last season that he meets a grim hand. Because it's if Homelander happened to survive and actually win at the end, then this season is gonna suck. He needs to meet his ends. And I know Billy Butcher probably gonna meet his. I'm expecting at this point maybe both will meet theirs at the same time. They both eliminate each other before the end. But still, he's nasty, he's sadistic, he enjoys abusing his powers, superhero powers, to make normal humans basically quiver under his boots. So he needs to really meet his end. Number six, another person who enjoy intimidate people despite them having superhero powers is Jeffrey Lannister, the main bad guy to me of Game of Thrones. But was insufferable. Now I know people have been psychotic. Some fans of the show were so psychotic that they sent lots of hate mail toward the actor, where the actor the actor did his job. Like if you hate that character so much, like just send not send petition, but just say to the show runners like, hey, I hate that character, I hate that character. Fine. But the actor didn't deserve it. That's psychotic behavior, and anybody who does this needs to get help real fast. But Jeffrey Lannister was a selfish, indulgent, entitled person who abused his power as a son of Robert Lannister. I'm right, yeah. Basically, to do whatever he wanted to. So he was no victim in what happened. What Tyrion did was not being a victim. He just got exactly what he deserved, but he was still hateable all the way through. That's number six. Number five, Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. I had to put him on there. He was disgusting, a disgusting human being. He used basically his business as a front for illegal crimes. He had no conscience whatsoever, no moral code. So when he got his, and what got done, he was done in by a person they deemed as laughing stock, and by Walter White. I was smiling the whole way through. But even in his last moments, he wanted to go out feeling dapper, basically having a sense of style, and basically the way of his two-phase version of his demise kind of works in that aspect. So that's number five. Number four, Terry Silver and John Kreese from Cobra Kai. I cannot choose between one of the two because one beget the other, and the other one basically did worse. If John Kreese left it at there or didn't get himself being consumed with revenge, Terry Silver would not have come back. He was Terrence Silver, a more calm, more composed person. But John Kreese just had to manipulate Terry Terry Silver and pretty much guilt him into helping him. Kept reminding him that he saved him. But at certain points, like he created that monster. He created that monster, and Terry went back to his more evil, maniacal ways in order to intimidate Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang, which ended up becoming Miyagi-Do. And even when he was thrown off Cobra Kai in season 5, he came back to manage the Iron Dragons in season 6. And no amount of basically personal circumstances could excuse what he did. It's just in the end, he realized he was bitter the fact that, hey, he was actually nurturing a relationship. I don't know what the girlfriend he had in the beginning of season 4, but he's the reason it ended. He just flat out ghosted her and never come back. Maybe because he knew the path he was taking on, was dangerous for her, but he chose vengeance over building a life. This was a guy who had major guilt, PTSD, and anger issues. And that overshadowed the rest of his life. So it's a choice. It wasn't any more of a circumstance. It wasn't a victim. He chose to do this. Just like John Kreese chose to guilt Terry Silver into completing basically their mission, which wasn't a mission, was just basically John Kreese trying to basically accomplish the vendetta against the world. And try to manipulate and brainwash teenagers along the way. That was what it was. So while it was a bit cheesy in the fight for the soul of the valley in terms of karate, can be corny. It's still the fact of trying to brainwash kids into adopting their mindset, which is very dangerous and can have deleterious effects on the teenager's life or anybody's life for that matter. So yeah, that's why they're number 4. Now we're going to top 3. Number 3 is a tie from the Penguin show. We have the Penguin, played by Colin Farrell, and we have Sofia Falcone, played by Christine Milioti. I couldn't decide between one of them. The Penguin can start off tragic, but the moment you realize what he did to his older brothers to basically eliminate them, to have more attention from his mom, and what he did to Victor, that's it. No more sympathy for this guy. This guy chose to be a monster, and he doesn't understand why. Even his own family, even the remaining member of this family, his mother, is disgusted by him. But she thinks because she's his mother, she still has to take care of him, but she's disgusted by him. And what he does to Victor just because, hey, he happened to win his war, but hey, he doesn't want any loose ends. That's it. You fell for him. And that was the beauty of the show. You fell for him until the end. You realized, you know what? He deserved all of that. He was no victim. He was just as bad, if not worse, than everybody else. And Sofia Falcone, you fell for her. She was a bad guy, but could understand why she was basically waging war against her own family and other enemies. Her own family basically believed that she wasn't all there, that she was incapable of running business, and basically uh enemies of her family basically still they felt like even enemies of her family did not respect her. So I don't see that point of view. Because honestly, I felt some correlation between her and she nearly was treated like Fredo the family, but it's like if Fredo revealed, I'm not Fredo, I'm Michael Corleone. So basically, it's like it'd be the equivalent of this show basically trying to make sure that everybody saw her as the Fredo of the family when actually she's the closest thing to a Michael of the family. So that's how I felt about this. And the revelation that Selena Kyle might be her half sister, it's a good one. I'm intrigued there where he goes though. Top two. Number two, I have to be careful with this. I'd say it's Park, June, and Choi from The Glory, the bowling group. Boy, were they hateable, especially the main one. Park, basically the newscaster, news reporter, I think so, or the weather reporter. Regardless, she was the main bully of the main character. In this case, like even as she grew up, it's basically the more people try to, how's this? The more people become more and more like basically, uh, more of them they would discuss where the more you realize the bully side of her never went away. It wasn't even dormant. It just expressed itself in other ways. She wouldn't go back and be physical, no, but she'd be psychologically intimidating people the moment she can get her way. And despite being a mother of family, mother of children, she wasn't exactly a great mother either. Yeah, she cared for her kid, but she wasn't a great mother to the point that basically her dad was granted sole custody of her kid. And yeah, and the John, I don't remember the main male bad guy deserved everything he got. So as well, Troy wasn't as bad as the other ones, but even then she deserved what she got. I mean, if you have never watched the awesome Glory miniseries on Netflix, go. You're making a huge disservice to yourself by not watching the show. But I warn you, it can be very intense. That's number two. Now you're probably thinking, what's going to be number one? What could be the number one TV bad guy on your list, Damon? Well, it has to be somebody who's legendary, who's been replicated, and quotable, out of touch, and the same time you can understand why he plays a bad guy. And its number one is Charles Montgomery Burns. Excellent. Or Sandy Allen. So basically, so yeah. Things like that. I mean, why would I pick a guy who's hilarious as Mr. Burns? I mean, we never know his age, but we kind of know the guy is well into his 80s, 90s, probably 90s. Uh, he can be senile. He's known to be cowardly. He treasures money over people. And the point with endanger people. He once said that he doesn't have enough money to pay Homer to find his favorite teddy bear, Bobo. Then the whole ceiling crashes and like treasures falling down. Like, don't tell me the guy doesn't have enough money. He doesn't even. He's so cheap. He's so of a miserable person, a miserable miser. He doesn't want to pay his employees their for the basic and adequate range of money. Like, I was astonished to find out Lenny and Carl actually have a master's in nuclear physics. I mean, already studying physics is hard enough. They have a master's degree and they're just normal employee. But he made sure to make Homer Simpson, a guy who barely graduated high school, their supervisor. He didn't do it out benevolent. He didn't do it as a benevolent reason. He knew that by doing so, he doesn't have to pay them as much. The only time he hired Frank Grimes after he did master's degree, he made sure to make him desperate for his job so he feel lucky to just have a salary, a normal salary. Because anybody would see this and they would know it's BS the way they're treated or have a low pay. So yeah, and never remembers Homer Simpson's name. And honestly, Homer's a bad employee looking back. But it's also the fact he's cruel to his own employees. uh, he's been indecent to his employees. I mean, the fact that he tried to hit on Marge toward Homer when Marge decided to paint him and had no qualm about putting down Homer in front of Marge. When Homer started losing some weight and he insulted him, okay, Homer's dumb, but it's like, didn't deserve that. It's like, hey, he lost weight. Yeah, rather than basically say, oh, congratulations. No, he insulted him and say basically this, like he's still repulsive. Like, first of all, who's talking, Mr. Burns? You're still even more repulsive. But he saw himself as a beacon of basically business hopes. In reality, he's just a guy who inherited his business because his adopted parent had money, and in turn, he had money. So he's not exactly better off. And he's outdated his way of thinking, his way of basically doing business. So yeah, it's like he doesn't deserve any sympathy. And the fact that hilariously enough, Mr. William Smithers is so dedicated to him when in reality he shouldn't be. William Smithers is shown to be a very good person when Mr. Burns not around. So, like I said, he's inappropriate with Marge. I mean, what else? With he ran over Bart. Mistake or not, he ran over Bart. He double crossed Lisa Simpson on a business deal. So, how many things the guy did to the inhabitant of Springfield? So, yeah. Again, he's hilarious. I will always find him hilarious. It always makes me laugh. But it's like, let's not be making a mistake. He's a bad person. It's like he's to me the he's not even bad to just one or two characters. He's bad to an entire city individually, and you see it across the show The Simpsons. So that's why he takes my number one spot as the top TV bad guy of all time. Now let me know what you think. Maybe I missed somebody else. So yeah. But make sure if you mention somebody else in the comments below, make sure that they're actually enemies and not rivals. The big difference in both of them. On that note, take care. Have a pleasant weekend, guys. See ya.